Hey Rich, how are you doing?
All right, how are you?
Pretty good. Yeah. How was your Halloween?
Halloween was very uneventful.
Very what?
Uneventful.
Uneventful?
Yes,
Awesome.
uneventful. We
Yeah,
we
here,
like I said before, we don't we're in a neighborhood that's doesn't really get a lot of kids. We're just because we're in the middle of a block where there are a lot of older people and they don't really do the Halloween, so
Mhm.
the kids don't want to come down our street because it's a waste of their time. They can go one street over and that they'll hit the jackpot, so they'll go there instead.
Definitely. Uh-huh.
That there are
Awesome.
some streets that go all out, and that the kids can generally hit the jackpot there. So,
Awesome. Yeah, here the kids got a ton of fun.
did you get a lot of kids?
No, no, we went out to get some pizza with a few friends,
Okay,
but our apartments, like they were doing Halloween all over the place. The kids went nuts. you know?
so you went out so you didn't have to do it.
Yes, kind of. We kind of ran away from all the partying. Just
Yeah,
kidding.
I've done that a few times. So
Yeah.
we've learned now that we can just sit in here without the main lights on, and they don't bother us. So if they do come down the
A-
street, but they haven't really come down the street. So
And Gavin, our Chihuahua, he knocks of he barks at everyone that kind of comes to the door. So we just figure it would be a nightmare, to like get him barking to everyone. So but that was not the reason. We just kind of arranged this dinner to get some pizza and see some old friends.
yeah, and it looks like we got a couple people. Hey, Alex. Hey, Brent. Welcome. It's great to
Welcome
have you
everyone.
here. We're gonna get started in just a second. We just wanted to give everyone a minute to get on here. But I see is all coming in, so that's good. So we'll start moving along then.
Oh yes.
All right. So let's. You want to kick it off, Khalil?
Yeah, sure. And I believe the topic that you brought, and I believe it's a great fit for what's happening today. We are hyper connected. And for example, I kind of paying attention to people, over dinners, over lunch, on the street, on the train or in the traffic. And like, we are so hyper connected, but the same way, why are those real conversations so rare today? Sometimes I see people like they're just right there. They are immersed, in a lot of things, but where are the real conversations? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it not only is it like where conversations have gotten lost in many cases. The kids, the younger kids, the current generations that's coming up out of school, they barely talk. They text everything. I've talked to many parents where they're so frustrated because they won't talk. They just send a text, and they could be in the same room, brother and sister or brother and brother, and they're texting each other. so,
Yeah.
and same thing when you go to a restaurant or whatever, they sit there and they're just texting away. So it's very frustrating to people, and it doesn't. Texting is great to a point, but it's not meant for conversation. It's meant for basic communication. There's a lot of limitations with text because when you are reading a text, the person reads it in the way they think you're saying it, where you might be saying it completely different. But if you were in a fight, they might be then thinking, oh, you're hollering at them or something like that. Like there's a automatically a mentality that comes into play when texts come in, and you're not really getting the true meaning of whatever somebody was saying. You're just getting the words, and that those words can be interpreted many ways. So yeah, so it's important to have real conversations versus text conversations, and I think that's probably the biggest issue that we've run into out there is that, you know, what happened? How did we get to this point where we talk day to day, but we don't really talk? You know, like you know, we need to figure out like how do we get better at that, and how can we do more with that?
Exactly. And obviously, we get overwhelmed sometimes, with texting. It's so much information from, like, for example, here in Brazil, WhatsApp, it's very famous, like everyone uses WhatsApp, you know.
Hmm.
And obviously in the United States, a lot of people use iMessage, for example, but iMessage is not really popular around here. So, anyways, the long story short is, for example, I have like 50 groups, 50, 50, 50. Can you imagine that? 50 groups that are muted because it's so much information that I cannot keep up with everything,
Oh my
and
gosh.
and the conversation is so messy, that I'm like, whoa, what's going on,
I would be overwhelmed with that. Like I have
Yeah.
trouble with just a few friends texting me all the time. If you throw me in groups like that, I'd be like, oh my God, like what do I even look at? You know?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and it gets crazy because the conversation is just so noisy, and obviously there's a lot of like childhood friends in there, people that I haven't seen in ages, and they're like, hey, why you not replying the group or whatever? Like, I can't keep up, it's like
Yeah,
too
yeah.
much too much noise, and sometimes I just kind of scroll down and see the last 2 3 messages and kind of move on, and that's what bothers me, about this experience.
Yeah, I had the same issue with the Facebook Messenger, which same idea, you know, where you know there's groups that where I'm in where you know people that I'm friends with from work or from other areas, and we're chatting all the time. But then when there's a lot of stuff going on, it's like, okay, wait, what's going on? I got and then I have to like figure out where who's saying what and what's going on, and it's too much. And again, it's I'm reading text, so I'm doing it in my head, not in their head. So who knows if I'm even reading it right?
And this other day I was at the mall, and we went into this like house store, things for the houses and stuff like that. And it was this little kid. I believe he was around 7 to 10 years old. And obviously, I don't know, his parents were shopping or whatever, and he just sit down at this booth, at this couch at this store, and he was doing like a FaceTime group chat with his little friends,
Oh my god.
and I was like, that's just gnarly, He was like, I saw his friends. Some were at their houses. The other one was in the street, and he was at the mall, and they were chatting, and they were talking about those little games and whatever, And that's the magic that happens with the technology that we have available today. Being able to connect, to interact, and to have real conversations wherever we are.
Yeah, I like the that's the one thing I do like about the FaceTime is that you can do some groups like that, but it's not always convenient the way FaceTime set up. But I do like it that you can call others and talk to them face to face and stuff like that, or have a couple people on where you can talk face to face. Same thing like Zoom too. I mean, they're all great, and I like that you can actually have that conversation. You and I, we do chat the Google Chats a lot, where we talk to each other all day, and that's the way that it should be. Instead of texting back and forth, we do some chat in a text format, but when we really want to get into a conversation, we just get on a video chat, and then we can go through it. Because once we realize we've gone back and forth a couple times, we know it's time to just get on the camera. Yeah.
Definitely.
And that was how I was at work too. I would be emailing with somebody, and then by the third email, it's time to just go and talk to them or call them up or whatever. Like it was like you knew, like after three tries, you had to have that conversation because the words weren't working. they were reading it wrong, I was reading it wrong, something was not getting communicated. So having the conversation, you can cut out a lot of the noise that's happening.
Definitely.
And I think that's the important part of real conversation, and that's what we're trying to talk about, is that getting into that whole real conversation, not a text, but actually where you can talk to somebody, you can see their expression, you have more of a connection to them than just doing text.
Yeah, let's not forget, like 70 or 60% of communication is body language. And whenever we talk about body language, we're not just talking about body language. We're talking about the voice, the tone that we are using,
Mhm.
and all these expressions. Like, am I sad? Am I happy? Am I smiling? How am I reacting? So I can
Mhm.
also get the feeling like, is Rich, it's what I'm bringing to the conversation interested. Is Rich interested? Is he angry? How's his feeling? So we can adjust from that. And obviously, there's no better way to bond than this, eye to
Mhm.
eye, looking to people's faces. uh and that's how we met, right? i talked to
Exactly.
a I talked to a bunch of people, to text message, on chats, on different platforms. But whenever we are able to connect and have the opportunity to jump in a video call, you see that the bond kind of hits different. Everyone that we had the opportunity to jump in a video call with, the conversation kind of thrived. It engaged in a different way than just simply email or text or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's in the making having relationships with people and making friends with people, a text is not a way. If you start just texting with them, which, like, I have a lot of friends that I've gone to school with and all, and I text with them through Facebook. I'll, hey, how you doing? Happy birthday, all that stuff. But the few of them I was very close with, but that friendship has faded because all I did was text with them. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're still friends, but you know, we don't really talk. And what kind of friend are we really? We're just more of an acquaintance at this point. Yeah, we wish each other happy birthday. Okay. We see each other's events that happen in life. Great. But we don't talk. So that's the problem with text, is it's easy to let things fall aside. I've had some great friends that I've lost that communication with because I just said, oh, I don't want to bother them, I don't want to call them, I don't want to get on a FaceTime with them, because I was thinking, oh, I'm going to bother them. But the reality is that if I didn't do that, then I'm giving up on them. And that's kind of what happened, is they slowly slipped away. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to bring back. Once you've hit that certain point, it's hard to go back. You can't really, you can recover, but it's very hard to recover friendship. So in today's world, friendships are hard to keep, because of stuff like that. Like it's easy to let go, and because text can be misinterpreted. So I know many people who don't like somebody or don't want to talk to somebody because of something they did in a text message. And that person may never have said anything that was bad, but because of the way that other person read it, they think it was mean to them, or doing something that they didn't like, and that now they don't want to talk to them. And that's ridiculous. But that's how text works, is it can make somebody get very upset and thinking that they're saying something in the wrong way.
Yeah. And obviously, a lot of people, as we grow older, they have other things, their schedule uh doesn't meet, and so on. And that's why technology is here, because we rely for so long in those human connections, in meeting people. But right now, with traffic, with all the errands to do, and work, and hobbies and whatever, we don't we we almost spend less and less time with those people, you know. There are
Hmm.
people that live like by me and I barely see them on a daily basis, you know. But sometimes we FaceTime, sometimes we jump into to video calls and so on, you know. And it's like I just saw that person, you know,
Yeah.
and I see that she's doing well, that she's doing great, you know, and the conversation just thrives. And I believe that's the magic of what uh, technology will do to us. Because
Hmm.
sometimes we should think, are we really connected? You know, and that's something that bothered me about platforms such as Instagram and you know, because I worked with influencers for the past 8 years. And being brutally honest here, a lot of them don't even open their apps on a daily basis. You know,
Hmm.
they have they have a team of people that post things to them, that reply the comments, and so on. You know, they are so busy, you know, because think about it, a lot of them are athletes, they are you know, they have their schedule, they have their things
Right.
out there. So like I met a few creators that sometimes they spend like 2 3 days without opening their apps, and it's not their fault obviously, but they can't reply to everyone. So
Right.
sometimes we have the false sensation that we are connected, and we are, but are we
Yeah,
really
well, that's the
having
thing.
real
Like something like
conversations, you know?
Instagram or TikTok, you quickly start thinking you're connected to a point, but are you really connected if you're only
Yeah,
watching them? If you're not actually communicating with them, is there any connection, or is it just that you like watching them? You know, that's where I think, people think, oh, I'm connected to all these people. It's great. Are you really, or are
are
you
you
just
really?
watching all these people? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's great, all those platforms, they have an amazing job, you know, for small business, for entrepreneurs, but we just got to really think about how connected we are, you know. I love
Mhm.
the lives, for example, you know, because they were able to achieve something that was almost impossible before, you know. For example, I love some like street leagues, it's a skateboarding championship, and I watched through a live, you know, a live stream,
Mm.
whatever. And but whenever we want to have real conversations, who never did this, you know, was either reading a book or, you know, found out something and wanted to have a real conversation. Who never scrolled down their phone books and said, all right, who am I going to call, you know,
Mhm.
who am I
Or
going to
or just
talk to
wish that
right
you had
now?
somebody to call even.
Or just wish you had someone to call, you know. People on the suburbs, on rural areas and whatever, you know. I felt that a lot of times, you know. I was like reading a book and I said, oh my God, I just wrapped up this book, or just stumble on this philosophical thought, you know. I want to talk to somebody. And none of my friends wanted to talk about that, you know, and I kind of felt alone on that because I said, I know that somewhere in this world there's someone, you know, having the same feeling as I am, you know. They want to talk about this subject.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think the value of video is better than a phone call, because a phone call,
Definitely.
it's easy for that person to kind of like go, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. And are they really listening to you? Are they true? Did they truly hear you? Where at least in a video, you can see, are they paying attention? Maybe they still might not be fully listening to you, but you can at least see if they are or not. You can pretty much gauge what's going on, because you can see how their face is going and how they're acting. And if they turn off their camera, well, then you know what's going on. Like, so
Definitely.
it's simple things like that, and that's how you can build lasting relationships. Because if you don't have the right connection with people, those relationships start to die.
Definitely. And like you said it best, you know, any relationship, it's a two-way street, you know. Communication is a two-way street. You listen and you can talk and you can react, and it's based on those reactions that the communication builds up, you know.
Hmm.
So
and
that's the
and I want to make sure that for our listeners here that it's not a we're not saying that it's not good to text or chat with people that way. I think we made some great friends on Substack just through the communication. Several of the people that are on here right now, we talk to them a lot, and it's great to have them on here. So we're very grateful to be able to have those conversations with them and go on. But what would be even better is if we could actually have a live conversation. And that's why we've our automatically have tied in Corners, which is our app where we do live conversations. And then we can have people come over there and join us for that live conversation. It's a great way to keep that communication going and actually get to talk with each other a little bit more. That we have all sorts of conversations going on Corners, and it would be great to have them come on and join us. And you know what's it's a small app right now, but as we grow it, what's going to be great is that you can do exactly what you were saying, Cleo. You read that book and you're like going, oh, I really want to talk to somebody about that book. And you can go into the nook that has that topic, and off you go. You can start talking to people because
exactly.
they'll be alerted and they can come in and join you.
Exactly, because for example, I love the Substacks on the lives on Substacks, but we see all those comments, and it's a great opportunity for us to listen in real time people that are very interesting, And what we're talking about, and I agree with you here, Rich, is like those people, they also want to talk, they will also
Mhm.
want to share their perspective, and that's how communication builds up, and that's how we learn. So based on our pain, mine and Rich and Gabe's and everyone involved behind Corners, we say like, hey, let's deliver a different kind of experience. Not saying what's good or bad, like, hey, let's create an app where people can join, like those little video chat rooms, So right now they're designed to be limited to 9 people exactly for that purpose. They are not a live stream, They are designed to be that cozy coffee shop table that you kind of sit down and get together with old friends, with new acquaintances, where you make new friends, where your book club kind of meets, where your friends kind of meet to talk
Mhm.
about literature, to talk about fashion, to talk about entrepreneurship, technology, and so on.
Yeah,
And obviously, we are taking our first baby steps, So it's been an amazing journey so far. We have people such as Ashley that has been joining us, and we have people from all over the world. Recently, we have Ufama from Malaysia, Judy from Sacramento, California. I'm in Brazil, Rich is in Philadelphia, and we met through Corners,
yeah,
and that's what's so amazing about it. The possibilities to like really join a video call. That's what you do. You join a video call and boom, other users receive a push notification and magic starts to happen.
exactly, and that's the beauty. There some of the other apps, they do similar things, but they don't have that instant where you can jump on with others just by an alert and start talking with them. And that's where we've figured out the little niche that's different, and trying to build on that because we want to be able to get new people to just be able to find someone to talk to. Sometimes your friends are not available at that time. Maybe you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and you want to talk to somebody. Well, guess what? Some other place it's not 2 o'clock in the morning, and maybe they do want to talk. So you can jump on and get more people to join with you and talk with you, and you meet people from around the world that way, and that's the great fun about it. We
Exactly.
already have made a global community with just a little bit that we've gone, and
Exactly.
it's amazing how our our name and our information has gotten out there to these other countries, and they go, oh yeah, let's join.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's the fun part of seeing what's happening and getting people to join us, and we have someone like Ashley. And hi, Ashley. She's been a great partner with this and helping us you know get some good ideas, as well as she joins in on the conversations and everything, and we love that. And many others, that constantly join, and we keep
Yeah.
doing that. So
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. I'm a suspect to say, but the experience is so gnarly because it's always a surprise, because you never know who you're gonna join the session with. Sometimes you see old friends, because me and Rich, for example, we never met in real life. I never met Ashley, but we had so great conversations on corners, that we feel like old pals. I love Ashley. We share stuff from our lives. She knows that I'm expecting twins, and whenever she sees me, she asks how the twins are doing. That's amazing. And we have people such as Stefan from all the way from Washington, Ethan in Los Angeles, Justin in Atlanta. We have people from all over the US and all over the world, joining us for that experience, to
mhm.
join the what we call nooks. It's that cozy video chat room where we can get together and really have meaningful conversations. And one other great thing that we're building around corners is there's no ads, so that the app is supported by its users. So that way we can keep focus on what truly matters, the value proposition around the users. Only the cornerstones or the moderators of the communities, they are the only ones allowed to post content. That way we keep the depth and the quality of social network, like no fake news, no bots, only meaningful interactions, from people to people. And that's amazing. And I
Exactly.
love what we're doing.
But we do have still the commenting where they can do, so there's still that
Yeah.
communication. But being that we are a little bit more exclusive type of an app, we limit down some of the other noise that can happen, like from the trolling and things like that. So we definitely have been thinking through a lot of these other issues that happen on the other apps, so that we can make it a better place and a safer place for everyone to be part of. So it's all about building the community for our users, and we want to make sure that they are part of it as well. And that's one thing that we've also have started to do, where we will have those meetings with our users, and we get their feedback and get their thoughts on what they would like to see built into corners, and then we can take that and keep building on it.
Exactly. That's amazing. And I believe that's the future. That will be no winner takes all market, and as the market evolves, we see more and more, platform focus on this niche experience. Uh Twitch came around and is really focused around gaming, live streaming, right now they have this platform called FanDuel, which is like Twitch, but for sports. And
Hmm.
obviously, everyone said Snapchat is going to die, but Snapchat is still around. They found
Hmm.
their niche. They have their audience, and so on and on. And I believe corners will have its place
Yeah.
around, those meaningful conversation. Really, that place where people want to hang out and talk,
Hmm.
and not simply like scroll by, and shopping, such as like TikTok. TikTok is very much focused on e-commerce and becoming like the Amazon or of social medias,
Hmm.
and Quora is really going on the opposite side. Let's think about, fast food and slow food. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? Like
Or, well,
corn is
fast food or your little coffee shop, because we are the digital
exactly
coffee shop.
where
Where
the digital
where you
coffee
come
shop,
in, you get your latte or your whatever
everything's
your
like handmade,
yeah.
really like stress-free zone.
Yeah.
People
And
reading
you sit at a table and you
newspapers.
join some conversation with others.
Yeah.
Everyone's welcome to
Yeah.
sit at any table and just
Yeah.
join in the conversation.
Yeah. Exactly. And you can join a nook where there are people talking about a book, or you can, stand up and walk to another nook where they're talking about business and so on and on. So
Hmm.
that's a great analogy, Rich.
Yeah. And we even have a sports area. So if you're someone who loves sports, you can go in and you can talk sports. You can talk football or baseball or you know all those topics that you just want. And if there's if your topic isn't there, that's where you could give us the feedback and say, hey, I would really like this type of a topic, and we can then turn around and have that built in.
Definitely. And by the way, talking about that, what do you say? Let's jump into corner and see who joins us.
Sounds great. Yeah. So everyone, if we'd love to have you join us. Come on over to Corners. Khalil's going to drop in links so you can get there. But we'd love to have you. And if you can't join us, let us know if you want to join later or something like that. If it's financial or whatever, you're just not sure. We got coupons that we can give you as well. So we want to get everyone in there and just start to build that community so that you can be part of it from the ground up.
Yeah, exactly. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining. Ashley, you're amazing.
She
Thank you, and
is.
thank you
Thank you,
everyone
Ashley.
that joined. Grace, Kathy, Stoic Sisterhood, and everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you all, and we'll see you on the in the nook in the lounge. Take care. Have a great day.